I'm just going to share with you some spoken word poetry that I've written, some stories, around three main themes. But the overall theme being what nourishes our soul. So the good stuff we need for our inner being, basically. And as I was preparing for this morning, I was just sharing earlier, I had a picture in my mind's eye of a feast. Imagine like a feast table. See if you can see it in your mind now. Like an almost an old-fashioned, so piled high feast, like the table is bending underneath the weight of all this incredible food. And I felt that sense for this morning, just that there's an abundance, for our inner beings, for our souls. We'll all be carrying our own situations of stuff that we're walking through at the moment. But what is needed for our inner being, there is an abundance of from God. So that is the promise I feel I've been given to share this morning. Wherever you're at, whatever it is you're facing, though the storm might be all around you, it needn't be within you. And there is good stuff. So we're going to feed ourselves, just like we fed ourselves with a lovely breakfast this morning, we're going to feed our souls this morning around three themes. So we're going to look at the nourishment that we get from connection with others. Where am I plugging into really healthy friendships or groups that can feed me and I can feed them? The nourishment that we get from faith. So it may be that you're here this morning and you're exploring faith, or maybe you're strong in your faith. How can we build up that faith? And finally, the nourishment we get from rest. So kind of recognizing the capacity that we have, limitations that we have, and how can we lean into rest for our souls? So I heard the story of a professional athlete who was on her way to a race, and she got lost. And so she stopped to ask for directions to the race. And the person at the petrol station where she asked for directions had heard about a race locally that day. So he pointed her in that direction. And when she arrived at the race, there were fewer people than she thought there were going to be at this race. But she thought, okay, fewer people, less competition for me. And as she made her way to register, the fact that she wasn't actually registered for that race passed everyone by, because they were so thrilled to have this professional athlete there, they just stuck a number on her and got her straight to the start line. Obviously, she won the race by quite some margin, and it was only when she crossed the finish line it dawned on her that she had arrived at the wrong race, and she wasn't running the race that she'd been invited to. And I wonder sometimes in life whether we are getting so stuck into running our race, and we're doing the day-to-day stuff, and we're doing all the stuff we need to do, and sometimes it's helpful to take a step back and go, is this actually the race I've been invited to run? Because maybe some of us are running a race of just trying to get everything done. Maybe we're trying to run the race of ticking everything off the to-do list, or to be the best with the most, or simply to keep ourselves to ourselves and not get involved in stuff because that way is a bit too messy and tricky. Whatever race it is we're running, this morning is an invitation to remember that we are invited to a race where we are to connect with others for the good of our inner being, where we are invited to nourish our souls, to lean into God. And we are invited to rest for our souls. So this morning, as I lay out this kind of feast of words, just take what you think is for you. Take what you think is for you this morning. It might be a particular section, it might be a particular piece, just one word might be for you this morning. Okay, so our souls are nourished, I'm going to suggest firstly, through connection with others. What a beautiful example we have of this morning. I'm going to start with this piece, which I wrote after standing in our local coffee shop, and I looked at the descriptions of all the coffees that were on offer. They were up on the wall. And I realized that I felt like the descriptions weren't just descriptions of the coffees, but I felt like they were descriptions of my friends. So I would love you to listen to this and see if you recognize either yourself or someone else, maybe someone else here, in these descriptions. And Feel free to give them a nudge or point them out if you recognise somebody in it. This is Coffee Shop Friends. I stood in the queue of my local coffee shop and I saw you all there with me, my friends near and far. Not sitting drinking coffee, but up on the wall in the descriptions of every drink on offer. Short and intense came description number 1. My little espresso firecracker friend, though she be but little, she is fierce, is your motto. You've been donning your heels and telling people how it is for years. You squeeze the most out of life. Do it your way. Give your all to everything you do. No diluting the truth or the fun. You're 100% the real deal. And I love you for it. Simple and smooth. You know where you are with this Americano, mate. Straight talking. You'll tell me what I need to hear, not what you think I want to hear. Never too many dramas. Your road is straight and smooth. You look for the good in people and situations. Time with you is like coming home. I love you in my tribe. You're my solid rock. Famously frothy. You're the cappuccino of the group, always bouncing in with a story of the latest excitement or hilarity, upbeat, with a gorgeous tendency towards exaggeration and lots of laughs. You don't mind an audience, and we love to be in the front row, loving that we see the backstage you, but always wrapped by your front stage presence. Life would be a lot more dull without you around. Rich and velvety. Oh, my dear flat white, your quality through and through. You make us dream a little bigger, reach a little higher, believe in better. You call us on to more. It's like you've been there. How else could you know there is more? And you don't just want it for yourself, but for those of us around you too. And you do it with the softest touch. I want to go where you're going. Mild and milky. You're our laid-back latte. Sometimes I think we run on different timescales. The details aren't so important to you, but of course, you've got it right. You slow me down to a healthy pace, recenter me. You know how to smell the roses and the coffee. Realign me with love's walking pace. You talk way into the night without a care for tomorrow because we're here, right now, connecting. What could be more important? You teach me presence. I want to be like you. When I reach the front of the queue, don't make me choose. I need them all. They're my lifelines, my cheerleaders, my confidants, my hug when it's all gone wrong, my gravity when it's all gone right. My fellow dreamers need you on my teamers. Which friend am I? Which friend are you? Let's raise a cup to friendship. Thank you. I guess there's two ways to go through life, and we can choose to stay on our own, to keep things as neat as possible, and then all we have to do is cope with our own stuff. Or we can choose to step out and be involved in the lives of other people as well, through friendships and family or church or other groups. And that way might be a bit more messy. And I've always thought of it a little bit like the analogy of you could be a pot plant in life, and there you are in your own little pot, all on its own, and you might be doing really well, or you might be sort of wilting a bit, but no one else has got anything to do with it. There you are in your little pot. But the other option is to be planted out, isn't it, into a garden or a park or an allotment, perhaps a mixed bed. And there you go, and your roots go down, and then they get all mixed up with the roots of all the other plants there. And there's this kind of cross-nourishment that goes on, and I feed you and you feed me. So this is called entangled roots. Roots entangled. Some are yours, some are mine, sharing life-giving goodness as we intertwine. Roots entangled, deep down in the soil of memories shared, dreams dared to be whispered, plans hatched, there's no going back. If I was a pot plant, the mess would be less, cause no one distress, just me on my own, life clipped and neat, solitary soul, growing or wilting alone. But I'm choosing entanglement, pot plant abandonment. I want you to grow taller because I'm in your corner, my leaves to grow fat because you've got my back. I want you to thrive because I'm coming alive, for me to be nourished because you flourish. Roots entangled. Some are yours, some are mine. Let's intertwine. Thank you. Margaret J. Wheatley, the American writer, said this: our seemingly separate lives become meaningful as we discover how truly necessary we are to each other. The Bible has so many analogies, doesn't it, about us needing one another. We're told that we're different parts, but all of one body. We're told that it's like we're living stones being built together. And this piece takes the concept of community, of not being separate, but kind of us, we. And I think we probably recognize that we live in quite an individualistic society. But I would suggest there's a challenge to that in the Bible. There's an invitation to deep, true, authentic community. So this is called, I prefer to say, we. There is a little bit in this that you could join in with if you want to. What do you think? Are you up for it? I love a bit of participation from the audience/congregation. Okay, let's try this then. So every time I say, there's priceless treasure, I would love for you to say, when we unite together. Should we have a little practice? I know you're going to be brilliant. There's priceless treasure when we unite together. Yes, you sound beautiful. Okay, this is I prefer to say we. There's a you, there's a me. I prefer to say we. Division enough. Let's gather round us. There's priceless treasure when we unite together. An ode to our shared humanity. You might be perky with some perks. We're all quirky with our quirks. Some are blessed with sanity, others laden with vanity. When days are filled with calamity, cling tighter to our shared humanity. There's a you, there's a me. I prefer to say we. Division? Enough. Let's gather round us. There's priceless treasure when we unite together. This beautiful circus of being human, what you think of as idiosyncrasy is endearing in actuality. Your unique personality traits are celebrated by your mates. The very state of being human should come with the tag, you do you, man. There's a you, there's a me. I prefer to say we. Division? Enough. Let's gather round us. There's priceless treasure when we unite together. We have more in common than that which divides. I'm not saying this poem can achieve world peace, solve political unrest, or conflict cease. But if each of us shows another grace, and we multiply that across the human race, each small step across a divide ends up as a giant leap for mankind. There's a you, there's a me. I prefer to say we. Division? Enough. Let's gather round us. There's priceless treasure where we unite together. Thank you, you sounded beautiful. So, connection with others is a really helpful thing for our inner beings. I want to suggest some questions that we might take away to reflect on this morning. Where am I putting myself in a position to input positively to others and receive from others? Take a look at your week, your month. Where am I proactively choosing to put myself in that position where I can impact others for good and others can speak into my life? What might hold me back from more connection with others? I host a group every Thursday morning of women from our church, and we gather around my kitchen table, and it's just the best morning of the week. I love it. But we were chatting about the crazy tidy up that happens before we have people around to our house, and I was like, why do I do this? We have tidy up Wednesday in my house because I host a group on a Thursday. Why do we do this? Is that something as practical as that? Is that something that holds us back, inviting people over more? Whatever it might be. What practical next step could I take to enhance the spiritual nourishment that comes through connection? So what is your next step? As this little reminder this morning about how good connection with others is for us. Is there someone you think of this week? I'm going to message them and invite them for a coffee. Or have you been holding back from joining some sort of group, doing the Alpha course or joining a home group or life group or whatever it might be? Is there a next step you could take to enter in, to show some vulnerability, some honesty, and serve others as well as receiving in that way? The brilliant Maya Angelou said, we need joy as we need air. We need love as we need water. We need each other as we need the earth we share. Nourishment through connection with others. We also need the nourishment to our inner beings that comes through faith. I love the story of the tribe where when a boy reaches a certain age, he needs to go through a rite of passage to become a man. And in this particular tribe, apparently, the way they would do that is when the boy reached that age, they would take him deep into the forest and they would leave him sitting on a log all through the night, blindfolded. And only when the sun would come up in the morning and the light would start to peek through his blindfold, he would know he'd reached the morning, he'd survived the night, and he'd now become a man. So on this particular occasion, a boy was taken into the forest, deep into the forest. They found a log where he was to stay, and he was blindfolded. And all through the night, obviously pitch black and not being able to see anything, all the noises, all the rustling he heard, he didn't know what they were, he didn't know what level of danger they represented. He didn't know how close they were. And then eventually, the light started to peek through the side of his blindfold. And he thought, it's morning. I've made it. And he lifted his blindfold. And the first thing he saw was his father sitting on the other end of the log. He'd been there all night with him. The only difference is that our Heavenly Father lets us know that He is with us, watching over us, looking out for us, protecting us, with us by His Spirit every moment of every day. And we do so well to lean into that truth, that the Father made us and loves us, that Jesus did everything possible so we can be in relationship with the Father, and the Spirit fills us and empowers us, enriches our lives in every way. We do so well to take a moment to step back from life and lean in to everything that would nourish our faith. This is Good Friday words, and it's based on 3 of the 7 phrases that Jesus spoke from the cross. Come gather round the cross, hear the words Jesus spoke, his final moments, still gifting us hope. Father, forgive them. Forgiving them and us, forgiveness for all my mess, every place I'm less than holy. In my distress, when I confess my lack, you possess fresh start, clean slate, new page, and choose to bless with forgiveness. Woman, here is your son. Here is your mother, ensuring we have each other as mother, sister, and brother, always a vision for our provision. In your word we read, we remember you said, ask for our daily bread, making sure we're fed in our souls. Abundant supply of love for hate, grace for mistake, peace for division, always a vision for our provision. It is finished. His work complete, his passion done, the work begun will continue to run in our lives. He's won. The one and only Son, sacrificed on our behalf, carving out the freedom path. This end, this curtain rend forever. You mend the mess. You defend my corner. Your Spirit you send. On you I depend. Come gather round the cross. Hear the words Jesus spoke. His final moments, still gifting us hope. Amen. A couple of years ago, I was going on holiday with my family, and we got to the airport, and it was a bit of a rush. And I don't know if you've had this as well, but we were putting our luggage on to be weighed, and this particular suitcase was overweight. And so you've got 2 options at that point, haven't you? You either open all your bags and distribute the stuff from the heavy bag into all the other ones, and everyone sees everything that's inside your suitcases. Or, as we did, because we didn't have time to do that, we just had to pay a fine. And with paying the fine, they also stuck a massive orange sticker. Have you been there? Massive orange sticker on the luggage. Heavy bag, watch out. Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. So we paid the fine, had this massive thing stuck on our luggage. Off it went. Did our flight, got the other end. And we collected our luggage, and we were going up the escalator, and I remember it. My husband looked at that suitcase, still with its big label on it, and he said, let's get rid of this label of shame. And he ripped it off. And as he said it, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I was like, in that moment, I was like, yeah, shame is a real thing. Like, it was a silly example because it was embarrassment because we'd done our luggage wrong. But I was like, all of a sudden, that phrase about ripping off a shame label, I'm like, that's what Jesus does, isn't it? He rips off shame. He takes away the stuff that would bring us low, and he lifts us up. So I spent the rest of that holiday, I was a barrel of laughs. I just spent the whole rest of that holiday in the Bible looking up everything about shame and what Jesus does. So this one is called Shame Label. Baggage drop shame. Overweight luggage lane. Heavy bag sticker. I'm labelled. I'm shamed. Publicly named humiliation gained. where to carry this. I'm beat. Dump it down at your feet in surrender and defeat. You rip that shame label off. Throw heaviness away. Let grace have its say. Halt the humiliation. Stop the stigma. Rip off the reproach. Delightfully divine exchange. At the end of our rope, double dollop of hope. From obedience comes radiance. Shame label, never. We hope in you forever. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do one last one in this nourishment through faith. And then I think I'm going to get us to just chat round tables for a little bit, and I'll just come back for a short one after that. Does that sound okay? Because we hear a lot of stuff, and it's good to actually chat about it and see how we could perhaps put some of this into practice in our lives, isn't it? So this piece is called Resurrection Day. Some of you will know Tim Keller, a Bible teacher, and he wrote this: look at the deadness in your life. Look at the anger. How is that going to be turned into forgiveness? Look at the insecurity. How is that going to be turned into confidence? Look at the self-centeredness. How is that going to be turned into compassion and generosity? How? The answer is that the dead stuff gets taken over by the Spirit of God. It's the power of the resurrection, the same thing that raised Jesus from the dead. And I love that explanation, that those places in our lives that seem dead, the places in our lives that seem dark, or there might be no hope, maybe we've been praying for the same thing for years and years and years. And actually, it's the Spirit of God, it's the power of the resurrection that is available to us every day to bring new life in those various areas of our lives. So I do this piece called Resurrection Day, which I did originally write for Easter, but I firmly believe that every day is Resurrection Day. This is another one that you can join in with. I'm just thinking, you want to? Oh, a bit of enthusiasm. I love that. Okay, so simply each time I say, as we declare, I would love for you to say, it's Resurrection Day, okay? As we declare, it's Resurrection Day. Hear the sound. Chains hit the ground, announcing we are free. Hear the crowd roar, through the ages hearts soar. He's won our liberty. Let joy be unbounded, praise be let loose, celebration the order of the day. Tell your soul to have a party, your voice join the song as we declare it's Resurrection Day. See light arise, colour into blind eyes, with newness of vision we see. See forgiveness rub out shame, he'll never be the same, now pronounced clean. Let joy be unbounded, praise be let loose, celebration the order of the day. Tell your soul to have a party, your voice join the song as we declare it's Resurrection Day. No longer alone. We're welcomed home. There's a place for you and me. We continue the story, present help, future glory, the Spirit our guarantee. Let joy be unbounded, praise be let loose, celebration the order of the day. Tell your soul to have a party, your voice join the song as we declare it's Resurrection Day. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to suggest that for 5 minutes we turn just in our tables or with 1 or 2 people next to us and chat through some of this stuff. Here's some questions to reflect on about faith, but you might also want to do stuff on connection with others. So remember, we talked about where am I connecting with others? What might hold me back? What could next steps be for me to be in true community with others? And on faith, if you're new or exploring faith, then what am I doing to feed my curiosity about faith? Or if you have faith, then what am I doing to feed that faith? Is there an area of my life that is dead, that needs to come alive, or is lukewarm and needs to be red hot? And what is my next step to nourish my faith? Some of us know straight away, I know I should be doing this thing regularly because it's really helpful for me and I still struggle in that area. Perhaps some of us don't know what it is, but what is it we could do this week and beyond that will nourish our faith, that will nourish our inner being? I'm going to give maybe 5 minutes and then I'll bring us back together. Okay, sorry to break into your conversations, but we're just going to come back together for one final theme. And then I'm hoping just in a few minutes when I finish, there'll be a chance to get together again in our groups and pray for one another, if people would like that. Before we finish, I should say, I tend to be asked if there is a book of my poems, and the answer is we are working on it as we speak, but it's not quite there yet. However, in the meantime, I have written a mini ebook which is called Creativity to Nourish the Soul, which you get free when you sign up to my email newsletter. And basically what I did was I spent a month doing a creative act each day. And then I journaled what I learnt in the process. And it was fascinating. Some stuff I would have guessed. I could have guessed that beforehand. And some stuff I really kind of learnt as I went along of how, and it really just extends what we have been talking about this morning, different things that nourish our soul. And so this is just my journey of creativity and how that nourishes our soul. No one's got it yet. You're the first people I'm letting know about it. But I send out a very occasional newsletter by email. So if you want to sign up to that, then you get this book. And I'll just be over on the stall afterwards. I've got some of the poems I've shared this morning and lots of other ones on cards or prints or whatever. So I'll be there if you want to say hi. We can have a chat afterwards. So that's that. So our final theme is how our souls receive nourishment through rest. John Mark Comer, the writer and pastor, said this: the solution to an over-busy life is not more time. It is to slow down and simplify our lives around what really matters. I wrote this piece when I realized that every friend I spoke to, when I asked how they were, the same 2 words kept coming up: busy and tired. And I also, at the same time, had that old phrase that some of you will know: my dad's bigger than your dad. Do you remember that? I remember it from primary school assembly. And I had that going round my head. And so this is like the 2025 version of that. This is: my tired's bigger than your tired. My tired's bigger than your tired. Life's going at such a pace. So much in we pack, meet myself coming back. Who knew it was one big race? My tired's bigger than your tired. It's mostly the mental load. WhatsApp groups, to-do list. What was it I've missed? Is there one day some prize I'm owed? My tired's bigger than your tired. I dream of my bed all day. My awake time has limits, counting the minutes till I can hit the hay. My tired's bigger than your tired, though sometimes I try to conceal it. Despite what I try to mask with a lie, the bags under my eyes will reveal it. My tired's bigger than your tired, but I is not as strong as we. Don't camp out on Tired Island. Let me know, reach out and come and be tired with me. Thank you. And this is called I Want to Change the World, and it's basically a reflection on the difference between what we want to do with our lives and what actually fills our everydays. I want to change the world. I want to change the world, but I better change the bedding instead. Need to pay for the school trip, take that pile to the tip. I want to change the world, but I better do the bedding instead. I want to make a difference, but I better make dinner instead. There's that stain to get out on my top, that direct debit to stop. I want to make a difference, but I'll make dinner instead. I want to leave my mark, but I'll leave for school pickup instead. Buy some milk, post that letter. He's fallen, kiss it better. I want to leave my mark, but I'll leave for pickup instead. I want to jump into my future, but I guess I'll jump on Instagram instead. Funny cats, famous faces, life hacks, exotic places. I want to jump into my future, but I'll jump on Insta instead. I want to tick off my bucket list, but I'd better tick off my to-do list instead. Make packed lunches, feed the cat, reply to the WhatsApp chat. I want to tick off my bucket list, but I better tick the to-do list instead. But of course, the world is changed, one small action at a time. Faith, hope, and love can turn a frown to a smile. Through our small covert acts, we can have our say. Join me. Let's change the world the undercover way. Thank you. Okay, and just a couple to finish on rest for our souls, really, if we recognise the busyness and all that there is. Recently, I've been journeying with friends who are having a really hard time with their daughter, having some severe mental health struggles, and a bunch of us have been praying for them. And I really just got to this point of going, I just want to give them a break from carrying this. And so I spent some time in Jesus' words, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest for your souls." And this is for you this morning if you're carrying something heavy, or you're carrying something heavy on behalf of someone else, or you're carrying something heavy because, like Ellie was saying this morning, you feel the weight of the world deeply. This is called There Is a Place. There is a place where we can lay our burdens down. It doesn't mean they're sorted, but we can leave them there for now. When carrying is too much and answered for too long, take a break from the weight. Start to regain our song. There is a place, a sacred place. The sign says, "Come to me." Password, weary and burdened. Works just like a key. We stagger in and lay it down. Enough, we say, no more. In exchange, the master of that place gives deep rest to my core. There is a place which specializes in all the tricky stuff. It holds loose ends, unexplainables, pain that's just too tough. So make sure to stop on by. Trudging on is not the goal. Come and lay that burden down and find rest for your soul. Before I finish and give us a chance to pray together briefly, I think we're going to finish on a song of worship, which would be really lovely. Before we do that, I'm just going to leave you with one last piece. Because we're a room full of women this morning, and I feel like sometimes we do a lot for other people and we need reminding about who we are and our value to God and to others. So this is for each one of us and all the women and girls that we represent. This is called She Matters. Here she comes. Into her future she steps. Life's sometimes been tough. Secretly, she's wept. We gather around, cheering you on. This is your race to run, your life to dance upon. She doesn't matter, comes the external cry. She doesn't count, whispers the internal lie. Oh, she counts, we reply. She matters, and here's why. This female being carries divine image of infinite value, supreme worth from sacred lineage. She has her place among womankind, they of compassionate heart and resilient mind, softness and strength, tranquil and tenacious, daring and devoted, grafting and gracious. So live your story magnificently. Hold your head high. Your future begins now. The limit's the sky. Thank you. I wonder if we just have 2 minutes to just gather and pray for one another, if you feel comfortable with that. That this would be an area where our inner beings would be nourished, whether it's through connection, whether it's through faith, whether it's through rest for our souls, that we would go from this place with our inner beings being nourished and fed and strengthened. Let's pray for one another for 2 minutes.